been a while that the outcome of the United States presidential elections was contested in court. It actually goes back to the George W. Bush era, when first the Supreme Court ordered a recount of ballots in certain precincts in Florida to break a virtual tie with former Clinton Vice President Al Gore. And 4 years later, when Americans had to wait until early December before they could say with certainty who won the 2004 presidential election. But while the crisis that has assailed the 2020 presidential election may not have come as a big surprise to a lot of people around the world, given President Trump's adverse position on some established electoral traditions and processes from day one, it could be said that many Americans never expected to see things deteriorate this fast. So how are they taking the whole situation? Joining us now is Dr. Nosa Obanor, a Nigerian-American surgeon based in California, who will be also talking to us about the successes or otherwise of other Nigerian Americans who were on the ballot of the 2020 U.S. election. Good morning, Doctor. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning, Dr.
Yeah, it's nice to see you again after the saga with Mr. Obaseki.
Yes, the other time you were here, it was a dual gubernatorial election. Now it's American general elections. Well, first, let's have your reading of what is happening in the United States at the moment, particularly the knife-edge competition that we've seen between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump.
Well, first and foremost, it is an interesting election in the sense that the two candidates that are vying for that position today are important people, but as well that the American people are trying to speak their mind that the present President Donald Trump is no longer welcome in the White House. So everybody's kind of surprised that he has gotten so much votes that he has gotten so far. However, the counting is still going on, and the race has not been decided finally.
Do you mind sharing with us who you voted for?
I am a core Democrat.
Right. Well, you're in California.
You live in California.
So yeah, it makes sense.
It's a given.
That speaks for itself. And also, you have to understand that for the past 3 years and a half, the country has been so polarized. And those of us who are immigrants and who have contributed very heavily into this country are being targeted and kind of oppressed a little bit.
But in spite of that, I mean, President Trump seems to have received a lot of support from Latinos and also from African-American men. And these are immigrants.
I don't think there is too many. If he has received support from those people, there has to be very, very few. He has been an anti-immigrant from day one of his day in the office.
Right. I want to ask you this. What were the issues, that determined it for you? Was it immigration? As a medical personnel yourself, was it COVID-19? I mean, just talk me through the issues and the challenges you have faced as an immigrant on that Trump administration that made you say, I will vote for Biden. Because if you say you are a core Democrat, I also do not forget that we had a group of people called the Reagan Democrats. That's a part in America's history. Democrats that voted very largely for Ronald Reagan.
Well, what you have to see that the last 4 years, the great United States is beginning to slide to a third world United States. We are beginning to see things that we've never seen in this country before. I have lived in this great country for 43 years, and this is the first time in this time frame that we are beginning to see a kind of deterioration of morale. We're beginning to see disrespect for the country. We're beginning to see a kind of oppression of immigrants. We're beginning to see a dictator coming into place. So the COVID-19, like you just mentioned, was first of all looked up as post. That's something that was not existing. There was an office set up by the previous administration to address this issue. That office was practically shut down. The economy is not the greatest at this time. So all put together, we're beginning to see that the country is being divided and people are not together. You could tell some of these things in your office. When the patient comes in the exam room, you hear people complaining. So based on that, a lot of us, including myself, we decided that we have to work so hard to make sure that this administration does not continue.
Well, Dr. Obanor, I mean, one of the things we've been talking about here is the fact that 9 Nigerians, or if you like, Nigerian Americans, were in the race at different levels, national and local. And as of this morning, we understand 3 of them have been able to win. And so many Nigerians are excited that Nigerian Americans are doing very well. Well, still you complained about how immigrants are treated. But we see immigrants from everywhere also playing very strongly in local politics in the United States. Is there a contradiction there, or this is a reflection of how open the American society is?
This is a reflection of the American society. American society is a melting pot. I live here in El Grove, which is a suburb of Sacramento. The mayor presently is from Vietnam. The other 2 candidates vying for that position are from India and also from China. I personally plan to vie for a city council in the next coming election, but I have to go through the to the process of learning on how to do that, learning on how to carry out the campaign. So this is a country that is a melting pot, a country where immigrants come in to contribute their quota, a country where people are coming to show what they made of. The Nigerians that have won so far, if you look at their profile, these are esteemed Nigerians. One of those girls went to Harvard Law School, and she's a very well-known lawyer in the area. So it is not surprising that she won the election in that area where she's sorted for a position. So America has always been a melting pot, and will continue to remain a melting pot. But if somebody decided that one race is more superior than the other, it becomes a problem, which the present administration stands for.
You're completely right. And racial supremacy is one thing over there. Here we have something more like ethnic supremacy. Can you do this comparison between what happens in America and what happens here? For example, a lot of Nigerians look down on the fact that Americans have the illusion of choice because the popular vote does not necessarily get the winner into the White House because of the electoral college system. Whereas here, we do not have an electoral college. It's supposed to be one man, one vote, and your vote counts. But we also have a lot of question marks about our census system, which weights populations in a disproportionate manner. Can you do that analysis for me about, voter disenfranchisement, voter suppression, and voter intimidation?
Well, there is all those going on in this country, mostly this year. So there have been a lot of voters intimidation, voters oppression. For example, I live in an area that I will kind of mark my word, kind of a middle-class area. In the last 2 weeks, they break into the mailbox just to collect people ballot papers so that they could not vote. Then you see the people carrying, flags on the freeway, anti-slogan on the freeway against immigrants, against other racial profile. Here, something can be done because this issue can be addressed in the court system. In Nigeria, those things cannot be addressed in the court system. Even if they are addressed in the court system, it is not fair. It's not a fair process. And usually there is some involvement of some kind of what I will use monetary gift that altered the judgment to those things. But here in America, those things does not happen.
Right, amazing one there, and it's good you've been able to talk about the fact that they try to suppress votes too, or they, in fact, they have suppressed some votes in America where you are. I want to ask you, how has this thing about gerrymandering that they normally do in America after the census, and you guys just had the census now in America, how has it affected, the immigrant community and your position and your ability to be able to vie for political positions in America?
Well, there are so many things that goes on here in this country. You have to look at the immigrant community is not practically all located in one area. We are scattered all over. But you have to see that most of the immigrants are the ones that have really put out in this country. And as a result, it affects the vote as well as the election. It is the immigrants that are the lawyers, it's the immigrants that are the physicians, it's the immigrants that are the mechanic, it's the immigrants that are the builder. So if you look at the whole system, the immigrants are very, very involved. Also, the present administration is a problem because the president, from what we're finding out, has not been paying taxes. I personally, as an immigrant, I pay thousands of dollars on taxes every year. Well, so that is already a turnoff for a lot of us.
Well, Dr. Obanor, you already made it clear that you are a Democrat, so you must be very happy with Vice President Biden's performance so far, and of course, if eventually emerges. So if the Democrats win the presidency at the end of the day, what kind of Biden presidency would you like to see?
I think Biden is going to unify the country, both black and white. He's going to bring a lot of stimulus into the system, although the economy is very good at this time. But we would like to see the economy much better than what it is. Two, the segregation in the country will decrease. People will work together as one rather than this division of white and black and people looking down on people. Biden is going to bring the country, is going to unify the country, and not only that, it's going to bring all races together to work together as one. For people who hasn't really seen the way this country works, you cannot really enjoy it when you have people calling names and people carrying out activities that are anti-immigrant, anti-other ethnic group. So Biden is going to bring a really good unification. It's not only the unification. COVID has ravaged this country very seriously. America has the highest number of deaths from COVID. So with Biden coming, we need to see more control of the COVID. We need to see more things done. It's not just handing out food, passing out checks. There has to be a system. America used to be a leading country in the production of a cure or a treatment for things like this. Up till now, we've not been able to come up with a cure. We've not been able to come out with any substantial treatment for this disease. With Biden coming, he's going to be able to put a group of scientists together, a group of doctors, to be able to work together to find a solution to COVID.
Well, as a doctor who trained with blood, sweat, and tears. I can only imagine how you have felt watching the science being dismissed as if it's just mere theory. It must be quite offensive to you. But I want to know how you feel. I mean, you're safe in California, which is a liberal stronghold, but how do you feel seeing footage across America of store owners boarding their shops and people battening down for some kind of violent clashes when or if the election does not go President Trump's way? This is usually what you see in Nigeria. In a lot of elections, in my recent memory, you've had, especially the Igbo community, feeling that they need to go home from wherever they live, wherever they earn their living. They feel that when it comes down to elections, that's no longer their home. They need to go to the southeast where they will be safe in case of any dog and baboon rhetoric kicking off. How do you feel about that in America, seeing this fear, palpable fear?
I don't think people have a lot of that fear in this country. Although during the election day, some of minorities kind of entertain some of those fears by staying at home, that there might be few people that may be lynched. But like I said before, this is a country with law. This is a country with organization. Those people are usually quickly brought to book. So you cannot get away with those kind of activities in this country. In terms of people breaking into stores and so on and so forth, I don't think you're going to see that. And I think we've ended up with what I may describe as a president that is not very aware of the political system of this country, is not very aware of what goes on in the political arena. As a result, he has brought himself to a place where he feels that he's the God Almighty of the country, and not only the God Almighty of the country, is trying to drag people into this chaotic situation where people are confronting each other. But I don't think you're going to see people fighting. I don't think you're going to see stuff being looted. There might be a few people that may be making noise here and there, but in a day or so, they will get to understand and appreciate what the system, the political system of this country have to offer.
I mean, I want to bring forward, I'm still sort of like segueing from Tundu's question, the case of people, groups like the Proud Boys and Antifa, that it's been open fracas, you know, and they made their point known here and there. I mean, you saw what happened in New York the other day. It was open confrontation on the streets of New York that police had to be separating them. America is a very divided and polarized nation now. I mean, what's your take about things like this? Yeah, you might not see a lot of it because you're in California, which is quite a liberal hotbed itself, but in those southern states, in those former Confederate states, it's open confrontation. Yesterday in Wisconsin, many Republicans went out there and it was open confrontation in front of where they were counting the ballots. What do you say about all of this?
Well, those are just isolated incidents. But at the end of the day and at the ending of the road, people in this country are going to come together and build their country, which is what you see all the time in America. People may make noise here and there. Even myself, who is sitting here talking to you, there are times I go in the office and a colored person will say, "Oh, I don't want a black person seeing me today." But they do not have any choice because sometimes I'm the only gastroenterologist around in the area. So you don't have a choice but to deal with me. So those things you describe are just what I describe as isolated incidents. But overall, you're not going to see that much. At the end, Americans always come together to put America ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Obanor, for joining us.